Hi everyone and welcome to Annie's InfoQuest. In this video, we will explore threats within the world of information systems. Today, we will be putting Medline Industries under the microscope. Medline is a $21 billion privately owned medical supply manufacturer and distributor. They've been operating within the healthcare space for about 59 years now. In addition to having over 50 distribution centers located right here in North America, Medline operates in more than 125 countries worldwide. Medline produces and distributes its own brand of medical supplies, as well as being one of the world's largest distributor of non-Medline branded products. Medline focuses on B2B business as well as B2C consumers. In a majority of Medline's customers operate businesses within the healthcare sector. Some of the more obvious companies include hospitals, doctor's office, and clinics. However, they also serve businesses like veterinary clinics and even tattoo and piercing shops. Over the last 10 years, Medline has expanded into the B2C space, offering medical supplies directly to individual consumers throughout its website, as well as making its products available on Amazon. Now that we've talked a little bit about what Medline is and what they do, who they serve, let's switch gears and talk about them through the lens of Porter's 5 forces. One of the first major threats Medline faces is the threat of new entrants. In Medline's case, this threat looks at how easy it is for new companies to enter the market. In Medline's case, they have a product line by the name of Total Fit Catheters. Medline must invest a lot of money into R&D as well as marketing its products. The FDA governs rules and regulations here in the US. However, these regulations are not the same within other countries. The EU MDR, for instance, regulates rules and regulations regarding these catheters overseas. Not to mention, rules and regulations in the healthcare industry are constantly changing and evolving based on new research. Medline might struggle to launch these total fit catheters into global markets. And doing so would require them to meet compliance standards and invest considerably in both marketing, compliance, and research and development. They were also impacted by companies that lead with tech-driven startups who, unlike Medline, have the ability to adapt and innovate quickly. In these cases, Medline takes longer to roll out new product launches with significant increase to the company's investment in compliance. Companies that with lean regulatory processes, such as tech-driven startups, for instance, are able to exploit this vulnerability. And lastly, and probably the most obvious potential impact is the threat it has on Medline, is the risk of losing potential market share in parts of the world that have complex rules and regulations. The second threat Medline faces is competitive rivalry. This force examines how existing competitors threaten Medline's business. I personally think this is one of Medline's highest threats. While Medline is a major force within the medical supply and distribution industry, it faces competition from fierce competitors such as McKesson, Cardinal Health, Owens & Minor. It is a known fact that these companies, as well as others, are investing heavily into automation, AI-driven logistics, predictive industry inventory, and a number of other technology-driven advancements that ultimately improve efficiency and allow the companies to better serve its customers. The reason this is such a significant issue for Medline is that its competitors are able to implement these technological changes quickly and provide customers with cheaper and faster solutions. However, for many years, Medline has operated with a traditional distribution model that puts them at risk of falling behind. It's their competitors, which are investing in updating their own distribution models to meet those demands of a digital age. As a result, Medline might lose business to competitors who are able to provide more agile solutions. Due to Medline's large business size, the company must make some substantial investments in technology updates. At the end of the day, implementing them would require considerable amount of time as well. The third and final force I want to discuss today is bargaining power of the buyer. This particular force examines how much pull a customer has when it comes to setting pricing. Medline works with large healthcare networks and hospitals, which in this day and age change hands and are bought out by other organizations fairly regularly, which gives these large healthcare networks and organizations significant buying power as they expand. This allows for fewer contracts, but more powerful buying power on the behalf of the buyer, which would be these healthcare organizations. For instance, Medline partners with group partner organization or partnering organizations like Linkage Solution, and they represent hundreds of providers across 39 states. And their job is to negotiate on behalf of their customers. Now, what this means is when you have that much collective bargaining power, you're also able to make demands which offer you lower prices and better service from these large distributors like Medline. You might ask yourself, why is that a big deal? While these super large healthcare networks are able to put pressure on Medline to decrease their pricing and offer them discounts on, let's say, large volume orders, and effectively reducing Medline's profit margins. Another pitfall that Medline sees when working with these types of large networks is that the buyer expects Medline to customize things based on their needs, and whether it be logistics or data integration, due to the size of these many hospital networks, Medline loses the risk or has the risk of losing hundreds of affiliated facilities if they were to lose a contract. So it can be pretty risky. Well, thanks again, and this has been three threats that Medline faces, and we examined that through the lens of Porter's 5 forces. Thanks.